Good evening and welcome to the Late Show with me, Irish Tommy. And obviously got a few things to discuss. We're going to talk about Dawson's departure to Wolves, or imminent departure to Wolves. We'll talk about the signing of Danny Ings, and also we'll look ahead to tomorrow's crucial game against Everton. But I won't be doing it on my own. I have my old buddy, H. How you doing, mate?
Hi, mate. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Can't complain. Well, actually, I can complain, and I'm going to. Bellon Dawson is out the door. I suppose we
I
knew this
know.
was coming. We knew it was coming. We thought maybe it was going to happen in the summer, and it would have had we been able to get in a replacement. I think we were trying to get Bednarak in from Southampton, but that fell through. So Dawson had to stay a little while longer. But now the inevitable has happened, unfortunately, and he's off to Wolves for a reported 3.3 million. We've actually made a profit on the player.
Yeah.
So that's nice. But
Rightly so.
yes,
Rightly
rightly
so.
so.
What an undervalued man he was when he came.
Yeah, I mean, geez, I mean, talking for value for money, he's up there, isn't he? Given
Oh
what
God.
he did. But
We got our money's worth, didn't we?
we definitely got our 2 million out of him, didn't we? Jeez. But it's sad to see him go, really, because I think we all, when we signed him, were probably a bit underwhelmed, and we're like, geez, what's this? We figured he's probably like fourth or fifth choice. Didn't really think that much of him, and then he came in and he was absolutely brilliant. Played great for us. Was a leader on the pitch, and not only defended pretty damn well, but scored goals as well, and just became a bit of a cult hero. And for a player that we weren't too excited about arriving, we're kind of heavy-hearted now that he's leaving. H.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody feel any different to you and I about it. And I think it's like there's something, quite bittersweet about it's probably the first time in a while I've seen the whole fan base agree on something. I haven't seen everybody sort of have a shared opinion recently, with Moyes in, Moyes out, and this player's good and this player's not. But yeah, I mean, I'm gutted, Tommy. Like he turned up for us, right? And I think that's why the fan base, we love him, because he played through injury. He gave it his all. There were so many times that those little errors and whatever and silly errors, but for what he did in those moments, he went and scored crucial goals. He put in the last ditch challenges. He threw himself in front of the ball. He's a proper, I know it sounds like a proper footballer. Like he commits and he cares, and I think that's the sort of player that West Ham fans love. They just love somebody who turns up, does their job, and does it for the badge, and does it with a bit of passion. So yeah, I think it's a huge blow, and I think we all rightly are very, very grateful to him and his service to the club, and gave us some of our best memories. I think contributed to those. So yeah, it's really, really sad to see him go. I am really sad to see him go, but good for him. He wanted to be closer to home and stuff. So he's earned that, I think.
Yeah, he has. In fairness, he doesn't owe us anything, does he? I mean, like you say, he gave absolutely everything every time we played through injuries, run through brick walls for you, wouldn't he? He just was. He was all action, no nonsense.
This is a guy who I think probably signed expecting to maybe, like you say, not be first choice, maybe be a sort of cup player, and then was having to play the full 90 starting lineup and back-to-back fixtures with Europa League, and so it was probably more than he bargained for as well. He was probably thinking, I'll slow it down a bit, and not necessarily wanting to, but and he's just thought he must have had to put a hell of a lot of work into making sure he was fit to do that, and mentally as well as physically. So you could argue he went above and beyond for us, really, with that considered. So yeah, love him.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I think he wasn't a storied centre back. He was kind of just considered a kind of run of the mill journeyman centre back, and then comes to West Ham, and I don't know what happened, that for him to play the way he did. I mean, maybe he was inspired by the move. Gets a move to West Ham, and then all of a sudden finds himself getting an opportunity because of injuries, to start and play 90 minutes for a few weeks, and he really grasped the opportunity. I think he was just really delighted to be in that situation. He maybe, like you say, didn't quite expect it, and I think he kind of played up to the role. He was maybe inspired a little bit himself, and ended up just being absolutely fantastic. And not just in the Premier League. I mean, he was playing brilliantly well, against some really good sides like Sevilla and, Leeds and Eintracht Frankfurt, like playing in, like you say, in Europa League and against some very good sides. And I mean, even when we played the likes of United or City or Liverpool, he never looked out of place. He never looked out of depth. And like you say, he was a very good leader as well on the pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he carried himself, his leadership qualities, I think, were very important to us as well. And like I say, he's become this kind of cult hero. I think he was almost like an underdog who kind of came good and proved a lot of people wrong. Mostly his own fan base, I mean.
Oh, myself included. I'll hold my hands up.
Yeah, I was the same.
I'm not too proud to admit that in the beginning, like, everyone makes the jokes about it, being like Calamity Craig or whatever. But I was part of that. And I was like, come on, this guy's going to be a liability. And proved me wrong. Like, good times like that, you want to be, proved wrong. But yeah, he proved his worth and then some, Tommy. And like, fair play to him for doing that. And as a fan base, like, that's what you love to see. Like, you love those players.
I think the last time I remember this kind of happening, fun enough, was another centre back. I think was Ginge. When Ginge kind of won our hearts as well, didn't he? Because he was the same type of player. He was okay. He was never going to play for a top club or anything like that, and considered kind of limited ability. But Ginge was the same. Ginge put his heart and soul into it, and gave absolutely everything every game, and became a kind of a cult hero with us. And the thing with players like that is we never forget them. Like, Ginge will always be loved. And I think Craig Dawson as well now is in that bracket. I think as fans, we'll always love Craig Dawson. Yeah.
Let's just make sure if he scores a header against us, he doesn't celebrate. Let's see if he loves us back.
Yeah, I'm sure he do. I'm sure he must do, because
he does. You wouldn't stay that far from home and stuff, would you? You wouldn't. You'd like.
No, and I think he'll see at least some of the comments, left by West Ham fans, either on his own social media pages or on, other social media pages like Sky Sports or something, when they, it's confirmed that he's going to Wolves, and the comments are entirely positive, and there's just nothing but an outpouring of love towards him from West Ham fans. I'm sure that's not lost on him, and I'm sure he really that'll mean a lot to him.
He seems like a humble player, doesn't he? Like it, like he just seems he's one who's just got on with it. Like, he smile on his face, works hard. Like, you're
and
right.
He'll always be remembered as well. There'll be certain moments he'll be remembered for as well. And I think maybe one of the big ones would be, I can't remember who it was. He just absolutely booted a Southampton player in the face, in the head. You remember that down in St. Mary's? He was trying to get on the end of a ball, and he can't remember who it was, but
I can't remember.
Do you not remember him absolutely booting one of the Southampton players right in the head?
No, I don't remember.
Oh, give him a proper kicking.
Someone needs to make a montage of best and worst bits. Let's see the worst bits as well, so we can
definitely
look back and smile. But
I'll find it. I'll send it to you on Twitter.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll DM you on Twitter with it, because I can't believe you don't remember that.
No, I don't remember.
He got away with it too, because it's Craig Dawson. So referee was like, it's Craig Dawson.
Yeah.
He's just
we can't punish him for every mistake.
No, I think he was like genuinely trying to kick the ball. He was just nowhere near
I believe that. Yeah, like
he was nowhere near.
There were times when, like, in the early days, you'd watch him, and it's one of those ones where if he pulled it off, it was going to be perfect. But going into it, you always thought there's a risk here that an own goal comes of this somehow, or you're going to give away a penalty here. Like he always had that about him, but 9 times out of 10, you know, he came through with it, and he did his job.
And those diagonal long balls, some of them were unbelievable.
Yeah, immaculate. Like, and that's what I liked about him, because I think we didn't always expect that. So when he pulled it off, it was like an absolute masterclass.
Yeah,
like,
I remember the first time he did
guy.
it. I remember the first time I did it.
Switching up play, like, okay.
I know, yeah, he's like switched to play like fucking 50, 60-yard ball down to the left wing, you know, with his right boot, and I'm thinking, who is this man? I don't.
If you've got this in your locker, keep going, boy.
Yeah, nobody told me the man rose like this.
Yeah,
I had no idea he had that in his locker, and then you're thinking, okay, maybe it's one of those, you know, law of averages ones, where it just happens to have gone the right direction this time. But then he kept doing it, and you're thinking, I didn't know he had this. I don't know what we did to him when we brought him here, but it was a charmed move. But yeah, look, I think we can all agree, you know, look, good luck to Craig. You know, we'll miss him, and you know, he's been brilliant for us, and you know, hope he'll do well, you know, at Wolves, and obviously he'll be happier, I think, because he's close to his family. He can live at home now, and you know, he deserves that. It's just a pity. The one pity would be if somehow we go on and win the Conference League. It'll just be a damn shame that he didn't get to get his medal for that, you know. It would have been lovely for him to have a Europa League medal from last year. That would have been, imagine that, you know, Craig Dawson wins a bloody Europa League winners medal. They could.
He probably would be pinching himself as well. Like, what? He'd be like, who gave me the chance to do this? Like, who do I think I am? No, that's what I love about him. He's great, and yeah, like you say, we just want him to do well. Like he's proved his worth. He's done his job. That, you know, he did all we could ask of him, I think, and he did it with such good manner. That's the sort of player that we love. That's a West Ham player.
Yeah, I mean, even throughout the whole time when he would have been, you know, homesick or whatever, and would have, like in the summer, let's be honest, he probably was very disappointed, you know, that he didn't manage to get the move then, because it looked like he was gonna go when we had the bid in for Bednarak, and he probably felt like, right, okay, as soon as Bednarak's in, they'll let me go, and then that fell through, and all of a sudden it's like, sorry, Craig, you're gonna have to stay till January, mate, and he was probably quite crestfallen, you know, about that. But even despite that, whenever we asked him to come in and play, he was still absolutely professional, still gave 100% on the pitch. And you know, I've got nothing but admiration for his professionalism and his attitude, you know, so fair play to him.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm just going to pop in the chat, H, and see who's about. Got Garino in here. Evening, Garino. Toby Sampson's in. Evening, Green and Tomo. And who else? Ed is in. We know. Sorry, this is people saying hello to each other. And Neil, who never sleeps. Evening all from rural Australia at 8:30. Honestly, H, like I've seen him on other shows as well. Like, and it doesn't matter what time the show is. I've even seen like American Hammers, you know, and that's on in the bloody middle of the night, and Neil will be in there, and it's like,
I love that from Neil.
Yeah, I don't know how Neil does it, but fair play to him. He's always awake. And who else we got in here? Howard Ailes, welcome. We also got Steve Brown in here, up the Hammers. Springs from the wings. Nice bit of alliteration there. Shame about Dawson, but he deserves his love. Yeah, I'm good. Okay, let's say hello. Alan Dunn, I am here in New South Wales, another Aussie. So more on Tommy and H. Love the signing of Ings, but sad for the loss of Dawson. Yeah, we're all sad. We're all sad at the moment. Let's see what else we got here. Steve Brown, Bell Dawson needed him till end of season. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, I think we'll manage without him. But who knows? There's a bit of time left in the window. We might get someone in. Zaniolo's agent is in London by all accounts. Interesting. We'll keep an eye on that one. Even all hurry. That's Frano. All happy about Ings. We're going to get to Ings shortly, actually. And Happy Hammeret's in. Great to see you, Happy. Normally hates like she's working on a Friday night and she doesn't get to be in the live chat always, and usually during the show she's kind of driving home and stuff, but she's listening. But great to have her in here tonight. West Ham U858, even Tommy and H, and all your lovely West Ham diehards. We've got Garino. So that's really pissed with us. I haven't seen clips for ages. I don't know what's going on there. Have you seen clips this season? I haven't seen it.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
All gone very quiet.
Yeah, Peter Chelmsford. Evening, Peter. Also got Louis Spinneret. How are they also talking about? I'm just going to come through because there's a lot of people just saying hi to each other there. We also got Paul Evans is in. Dawson deserves an ovation tomorrow. He'll be in Wolverhampton having a medical, I would imagine. Dawson may have left, but he has left the piano behind. Stars officially confirmed. Yeah, we've accepted a bid, Happy. We've accepted a bid, 3.3 million from Wolves. So Craig, I imagine, will have his medical tomorrow up there. So it'll be confirmed tomorrow that he will be a Wolves player. For the next few hours, he's still technically ours. Yes, down with this sort of thing. I wish Craig would retire here, but not officially, but anytime soon. Yeah, I'll skip the ones. Here, Neil says Bellum Dawson became a cult hero at West Ham who always gave 100% whenever he took to the field, and I'm sure he'll always get a good welcome whenever he turns up at London Stadium. Yeah, we've played Wolves twice this season, so that's good. We don't have to.
Yeah.
We don't have to have the heartbreak.
I haven't got to see it.
Yeah, we don't have to see it this season. I think by the time we hopefully play Wolves, maybe we'll be in the same division but lower, or different divisions. We'll see, but hopefully next time we play Wolves, we'll have had time to kind of get over it. I know it's birds. Okay, no idea. Loved watching Dawson taking out some players with a well-timed tackle. Yeah, his tackles were epic. He wouldn't always time them, but he was always committed. Hammerette, I really loved old school hardcore defender Nimbus. So yeah, still there is something about that kind of defender, isn't there? H that we all still love.
Yeah, 100%. I said it just reminds me of like players that I've played with at my level. Like it's that sort of Sunday league grit, like you're not backing out of any challenge. Like you'll get stuck in, you want the ball, you'll win the ball, you'll do something. I love that.
Green says, Tommy, your cat is stuck to the wall. My cat, like little shit, he likes to climb the curtains. Like he goes right up to the top. Like he's up near the ceiling, like hanging off the curtains. Shane Rutland twins chucking away a 2-0 halftime lead. Oh, did they? Oh, I knew they were 2-0 up, but I didn't get the final score. Mubama scored. He got an assist as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he looks a prospect, but whether he'll get any time. Yeah, pink beer like long balls. Yeah, didn't know he had that in his locker. Dawes could be like a proper Italian defender, have a good few miles on the clock, which I'm all about. Yeah, he seems like it's not like he relies on pace or anything, is it? We were robbed by a dodgy pen and offside goal. Ooh. Under 21s, I assume that's about. Spuds have been warned by the RSPCA to not everyone dogs that can't hold on to a lead. Very troll, Hammerette. Yeah, I don't think we'll get any tributes tomorrow to Dawson, I think. But let's see what else have we got here. Yeah, Dawson's implied what it is to wear the shirt. That's why we loved him. Yeah, we just we love a Troyer, basically. Like we've had a lot of players, that maybe aren't the best in the world, but they're just put everything into it and like run their bollocks off and give 100% all the time. And we'll always like and appreciate players like that. Dawson, I'll never forget his tackle on steroid man Traore, just made me laugh at the time. Brilliant. Yeah, I remember that one. Don't mention the OGs, Tommy LOL. I wasn't gonna. Dawes was massive for us. Who would have thought that we would have someone that the fans love as much as the Ginger Pele, but he deserved the chance to get closer to his family. Yeah, he did. To be fair, Tommy, Southampton player did have a face like a ball. Yeah, it was in the general area of the ball, and it was also round. And Dawson, as you expect, just swung at it with everything he had. According to John McCarthy, there is a montage on Twitter, H, so I'll find it for you.
Perfect.
And I'll pass it on. I hope the kick to the head is in it. To be honest, I was not impressed when I heard he was joining us, but this has been a massive presence for us and completely won me over. Good luck to him. Yeah, I love it when that happens too. You know, when you roll your eyes at signing of a player and then they turn out to be massive.
Yeah, I think that was me.
I really believe that board want to keep Moyes till the end of the season. I think ideally they do, but their hand might be forced. Dawson scoring a header from a corner and taking out 3 defenders in the process. Yeah, that was amazing. He actually did that out in Leon, if you remember, as well.
He loves it,
out
doesn't
in Leon, he did exactly that. I think Fornells took the corner and he came in and he just bulldozed everyone.
Yeah.
You know, he's in the air and he just heads the ball and just takes every. Just
he doesn't. Yeah, but he just doesn't see anything else, does he? It's pure tunnel vision, ball and goal. Like that's.
Yeah, the way he attacked corners was unbelievable.
Oh, I know.
Dawson could really have been a great captain. Yeah, absolutely. Captaincy material. Hammerette, has anyone heard Bowen's news? Yes, you've heard it, H?
Yep.
So him and Danny Dyer are apparently having twins. So
good luck to him.
They'll need it with twins.
Yep.
Yeah. If we finish 15th in the European Cup, I'll take that all day long. Yeah, I think we all probably would, wouldn't we, H?
Absolutely.
Finish in safety and win a cup. I mean, that gets us into the Europa League anyway. So
exactly.
You know, it makes the league position kind of irrelevant, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Twins. Yeah. Just see if there's anything more of interest here. Okay, I think we'll move on because there's actually loads. It would take me all night to get through them. Okay, so obviously one out, but one in, H. Danny Ings. Now it happened very quickly. I mean, there had been some noises, obviously some links. Actually, Garino was spot on. It was Che Adams that he booted in the head. Yeah. But yeah, we were linked with Danny Ings. There were some rumors that we maybe would possibly go in for him. And then all of a sudden, it happened really quickly. We heard, a bid had been accepted and he was on his way for a medical and it was basically happening. And then essentially the next day he was, as in earlier this morning, he was announced officially as a West Ham player. What's your thoughts on that one?
It caught me by surprise. It's a really good bit of business. I think it's an important signing for us. He's a goal scorer, right? And what are we not doing at the moment? That said, when it comes to signings, proof is in the pudding with how things have gone so far this season, that you can sign somebody who on paper has got everything there. It's what we need. It's what we want. And, on grass, it doesn't quite come together. That's not me saying that's not going to be the case, but I can understand why some people are sort of mixed opinion, because looking at how things have been and perhaps not the best management of new signings, there might be some concern over if he is going to maybe come to his strengths in the squad. But I personally think it's a really good signing. It's what we need. And for me, it does feel like it was somebody who Moyes wanted from stuff that he said, as somebody who knows the league. He can settle in quite quickly. So I think he's already got that trust and faith in him. So, if he feels that way, I guess we can all probably feel quite happy that he'll be used properly. But yeah, I think it's great. I think we needed it. I think we've been lacking. We're not scoring goals. Our attacking options, you could argue service hasn't been there, but it's been generally quite poor up top. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it's a good positive boost for us going into tomorrow, and I hope that view is shared in the team.
Yeah, I like this signing. I really do. I like this signing. I've always liked Danny Ings anyway. He's always been a goal scorer. He's 30. I think he'll be 31 in July. But again, that's not that old, really. He's still a player we could get a couple of seasons out of, I think. I don't think he'll ever be our number one striker, but he's certainly an upgrade on Antonio if he's going to be back up to Sackico. And that's the thing, he'll finish the chances that Antonio won't. So I like the signing. I think what helps as well, I think I understand why we brought him in, because this is definitely a Moyes signing. You could see today from the way Moyes was talking that he wanted Danny Ings and asked for Danny Ings, and we went and got him. Because Moyes was saying, look, I wanted someone that I could literally just throw in right now. There's no getting used to a new league. There's no bedding in. He's good to go. I can chuck Danny in immediately, and he knows the Premier League. He knows what he's doing. He's experienced, and he can hit the ground running and hopefully score us some goals in the second half of this season. Moyes obviously didn't want to bring someone in from abroad, because you know how Moyes feels about players coming from abroad. He feels like he can't just chuck them in, right? That they need time to adjust and get used to a foreign country and a foreign league and all that. And so I think we will see Danny Ings play, and I think we'll see him play immediately because he's ready to go, and Moyes wanted him, which is a big thing. You know how Moyes can get a bit funny about players that he didn't really necessarily want. But the fact that he wanted Danny Ings and got him, I think that's a good thing. And we really, really do need goals all along. Like, we need him bad. So the interesting thing will be, so two things I want to ask you here about this signing, H. First of all, do you think he'll go straight in the team tomorrow?
No, I don't. That's just Moyes being Moyes a bit, I think. And whilst he wants him to integrate quickly, whilst he wants him to be involved pretty much straight away, I just don't know if he'll start him. But that's just based on how Moyes does things or has done things. If he does, good, and let's see it happen. But I would be surprised if that happened.
Even with Sackico not available, apparently.
Yeah, I've just still got a feeling if we're starting one up top, he's going to start Antonio, and then bring Ings on. But that is just me being a little bit cynical about how Moyes sometimes does things and just kind of starting the same. But I think he's open to starting.
Yeah. Do you think Antonio's comments might change anything?
Quite possibly. But it's not the first time. I mean, this might be the only time we've really seen it the way it is, but it's not the first time we've seen this sort of attitude, right? And it is a stark contrast from him saying that he wants competition and he wants to be fighting for his place. And but it's not the first time there's been a few like questionable comments from him, or he's walked around slopey shouldered and straight down into the tunnel. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a bit of that gets shrugged off because that's just Antonio a little bit, or it's just the way he comes across. I don't know. I guess only they'll really know that. But yeah, I mean, quite possibly. If it is a little bit more, if there is a little bit more to it than that, then yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah, it's
But
just
I
the
don't know. I
comments.
just get that feeling.
Yeah, just the comments from Antonio about not so much complaining about the playing time, but just I think more about the thing about where we were expecting to, we're trying to play a more possession-based game and kind of evolve the team, and that just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And I wonder if Moyes would see that as a little dig, that he's
possibly, yeah.
that he's failing, at evolving
but
the
I
team.
do wonder how much of that is sort of just a known thing in the team, because I think like Moyes has made similar comments himself about it hasn't quite gone the way we wanted to, so I've had to change things, and so I don't know if that's just sort of that, but being said and delivered with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. It's difficult to know, right? But I think the way I read them, I thought it was a terrible attitude. And, if I'm Moyes and I've just signed somebody, he's going straight in, like he's getting that opportunity. But I don't know. I don't want us to be predictable though, because this is our downfall at the moment. It's a huge downfall of Moyes'. So I would like Ings to start. Whether he does or not, I just don't see it. I don't. But I'd like to be wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I just feel like he'll start comfortable, but that's me just, he'll do what he always does. He'll start how we expect him to start, then he'll change things a bit later. But who knows? Like he's acknowledged that tomorrow is huge. So perhaps he will change it based on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see him start tomorrow, go straight in the team. Now, Moyes apparently did mention that Danny Ings isn't match fit. I suppose he hasn't played that much, so that would suggest that he might not chuck him in from the beginning. That we might just see him off the bench.
Yeah, that's how I feel. But
yeah, so I suspect you'll be right. That he won't start, even though I'd love to. Match fit or not, he's still fit.
But then I don't think Antonio is. Like, he looks off it. I mean, the past couple of games, he's been, people sometimes say it's just his laziness, but watch him, on the ball, he just doesn't. He's below par at the moment for where he was, and he struggled with injury. Then he got himself back up, and now he's dropped down again. And I just feel like he doesn't look fit. He doesn't look in peak condition. He doesn't look, So what's different, really? Like, to him, if Antonio is completely fit and playing to his fullest potential, then he's not good enough at the moment. Yeah. So that's a performance thing, not a fitness thing. But then do you arguably bring in somebody who's going to perform for you, but maybe isn't? So it almost feels like it balances itself out, right? So which one do you pick based on fitness or performance, technical ability?
Yeah, but the thing is that Danny Ings, I know he hasn't played much, but he has been training fully. I mean, he's completely uninjured, has been training fully at Aston Villa. I mean, you can surely get 70 minutes out of him.
100%.
Okay, he might not be able to do the full 94 or whatever it turns out to be, but you surely get 70 minutes, 65, 70 minutes out of him. And if you want to chuck Antonio on, then
whereas to me, that's how I've always, well, it's not always, but that's how more recently I felt with Antonio, right? Get him on as the impact sub, which we did a few times. And a few games they were screaming out for him to come on. And in fairness to him, when he did come on in those games, it made a difference. It was game changing to then have that change in strength and that change in pace up top. So for me, he does almost fit that impact sub role a little bit better now, Antonio. Now that he is dropping off slightly, but he can still give you those sort of bursts of energy and speed and strength, and he will force errors, he will put defense under pressure, but he cannot do that for a long period of time anymore, in my opinion. So yeah, I'd like to see it that way around, like you've just said, and I'd like to have Ings for the majority and then have Antonio as an impact player.
Because I just feel like, if we do manage to create a couple of opportunities, in the first half, I want them falling to Ings, not Antonio.
Yeah, me too.
Because he's an absolute finisher. I know he'll score. Like Antonio will probably miss or hit it straight.
And that's how I felt. That's how I felt at the weekend. Like it was screaming out for a goal scorer for a large portion of the first half, and like that's the sort of game where if it's going to go that way, and we're creating very few chances at the moment, that the ones that we do create, we want someone who, once they get the opportunity, they're just going to pull the trigger. They're gonna look to be, putting that ball away like as easy as they can. They're not going to overcomplicate it. They're not going to, we're not playing, his hold up play is good and stuff like that at times, but yeah, the chances aren't there enough for us to be overcomplicating things at the moment. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I would much rather have someone who's just going to be a clinical finisher at the moment.
Yeah, the other thing with Ings, I know people talk about his injury record, but he's been more or less injury free pretty much.
Touch wood, Tommy, please.
Yeah, I know.
Look what's just happened with Skamaka.
I know, I hate to say it. But he's been pretty injury free the last kind of 18 months. I think since he signed for Villa or something, he's only missed about 8 games for Villa since he signed. So, he seems to have put, hopefully, the injury stuff behind him largely. But the other thing with Ings is, much the same as Haller and Skamaka, they've never played as lone strikers. And so, we took Haller, who was scoring loads of goals at Frankfurt, although he was there with Rebic and who was the other lad that was with him that went to Real Madrid?
I'm not sure.
Can't remember his name, but
he was never a solo, was he?
Jovic. Yeah, he was playing with Jovic and Rebic, as a kind of a front three. And they were all banging in goals. Came to West Ham, played as a lone striker. Didn't suit him. Didn't suit him, and then we end up selling him at a big loss, and then he goes and starts banging
goals in again.
Oh yeah, and it's like, and Skamaka comes in. He was playing up front with Raspadori, all the time, and then he comes here,
player.
Up front as a lone striker. He's isolated. We're not creating chances for him. He's struggling, and Ings is the same. Ings is not a lone striker, so the hope is. My hope, at least, is when Skamaka comes back in, that we can get them both on the pitch.
Yeah.
At the same time, So, for example, if you were to play, say, the 4-2-3-1, which Moyes loves, you could have Rice and Paqueta alongside each other in the midfield. You could have Benny left, Bowen right, and you could have Skamaka in the number 10 role with Ings just ahead of him. Because I think that would really help Skamaka and Ings. Well, they could form some kind of partnership up there, and work off each other and both score goals. And I mean, that could potentially transform us. I just don't want to see Danny Ings up front on his own.
No.
Once he's match fit, presumably next week away at Newcastle.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him up on his own and isolated, just like Skamaka and Haller were.
It's just the common feature, isn't it? And I think that's what everyone was saying about Skamaka is like the Haller effect is coming out again. And what is it that's the problem there? Well, it's not the player. It's that they're not being played to their strengths. They're not being played where they like how they should be played. So yeah, it's spot on there, Tommy. I think I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him isolated. I don't want to see him, wasted essentially, because there's only so much you can stick to a formation and see that that's not really necessarily going to suit the people that you're bringing in. So yeah, I would like to see that happen. I would really like to see him like 2 strikers at the same time.
Yeah.
And like play off of each other, because again, how many games so far this season have we seen opportunity after opportunity of the ones that actually happen where if there was that added bit of support there, or if we could change the way that we're passing forward and breaking forward with both, we're going to score goals. And by isolating a player, by having that lone striker up there, by feeding them the ball, hoping that the hold up play is successful enough for somebody to make a run from the channels in.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you're going to try and make maybe 3 or 4 passes in and around the box. Yeah. It just doesn't work. It's not worked for us. So yeah, I hope you're right. I hope that is the way it goes. I would like to see that happen because, like you say, that's when we're going to get the best of these players. We really are. So yeah,
because the
fingers crossed.
potential, the potential as a partnership is quite exciting. The
Yeah, really
possibilities,
exciting.
and because they're both good players technically. They both can slip little passes through, and obviously they're both really good finishers. And if we could get a partnership going there between those two, I mean, the potential for us to increase our goal scoring is massive, and it could get us up the league, and potentially, like I say, they could fire us to a European Cup. And Moyes, if it's not going to be Moyes, it's going to be Moyes' replacement.
Yeah, this is it, right? So
Well,
he doesn't get it done.
Yeah, you've got to get them both on the pitch.
I just hope he's not out too long. He did say today, a short time.
Yes.
So hopefully that is like a few weeks, but it's a few weeks too many at the moment. I think we'd all agree. But yeah, it's still not then going to be too little too late. We're sort of at the halfway point. So plenty of chance to get them both out there together. So yeah, I definitely hope it happens. I hope it happens. But again, then in the back of our mind, there's just this little thing which is like, but do we know what's going to happen with Antonio? And if we are then thinking perhaps, an impact sub, sort of like a last 15, 20 minutes player maybe. Will Moyes always want to take the gamble to play them both together? He has seems like he almost has a bit of anxiety about having two on the pitch at once, just in case one does get injured or something happens. If he's got two players there who in his mind, one's just coming back from injury and Scamacca, when he does, Ings has had injuries before, Antonio hasn't got a full match in him. I don't know if we are then playing Thursday, Sunday again in Europe, and will he have a bit of nervousness about him to maybe play them together? That's in my mind a bit, but that's just a Moyes problem. And like you say, if we're not getting results and he doesn't do that and he goes, then hopefully somebody else will be willing to do that. So yeah, hopefully it'll be something like you say that's really exciting for us in the next sort of few weeks.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed that we'll see it, whether it's Moyes or someone else. Just to answer Gatesy, he's in the chat there. He wants to wear a partner because my curtain is very still. Yeah, Kenny's fast asleep. Thank God. So I'm not being. He's wrecked from all his curtain climbing. So yeah, I guess we'll move on to what in my thumbnail I describe as El Sackico. So tomorrow, obviously, look, a huge game. Really, at the moment, we're probably the two worst teams in the league, facing off at London Stadium. And I mean, every game is must win, essentially, nearly at this point. But this is a huge 6-pointer. And I think to lose this one, H, would be quite disastrous, potentially, for our season. This is a game that we not only cannot lose but cannot draw. We have to take 3 points tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, if we don't, like, to me, after Saturday, like Moyes already had to go. I'm never really like that. I don't really like to say that sort of stuff, but unless it's all changing out there, it's got to change from him. But that aside, what his future will look like if we don't get 3 points tomorrow, I think a draw would probably be enough to keep him there. I feel like they're going to go game by game, and if he gets a draw tomorrow, it'll be like, okay, now let's see how we do against Derby on the following Monday. If you win that, you're through to the next round of the cup. But tomorrow is huge. Like, I'm trying not to even think about being beaten at home by Everton, but they beat us at their ground. It's that nervy part of the season now where you get to that halfway point, and we probably deep down did expect some of the past few games to go a little bit differently and to be stealing a few more points. Sorry. And I think, yeah, now we're at that point where, like you say, we can't afford to be dropping these points against teams who arguably we should be taking them. And I think the worse it gets, the more toxic it gets. You know, Moyes called out today that, you know, he needs everybody to be so connected. And he said that that's how it is at West Ham. And he said, I can't really comment on Everton, blah, 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 blah. But you lose tomorrow and that's just going to keep falling to pieces, Tommy. I think like it's going to be such a hostile environment for the fans in the dressing room. I mean, to me, after Saturday, I was like, that dressing room's gone. Like, that's going to take some serious saving. But, you know, that's why it's then on to tomorrow, right?
Yeah, because I think, you know, after tomorrow, obviously, you know, you're going to be waiting another 4 games really for a game that you feel is kind of very winnable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so obviously we've got away to Newcastle, then we've got Chelsea and
Tottenham, yeah.
And then we're home to Forest. And that would be the next game where you think, okay, this is a much more winnable game. So to not win tomorrow and then potentially not win any of the next 3, you know, is just, I think at that point, even by the time we get to the Forest game, we're just bang in trouble.
I mean, we already are. Like, I'm not saying it's game over already, and we all sort of after Saturday we're like, well, relegation battle, here we come. And it is still, you know, there's a few wins there. You're climbing up, but yeah, I think we are already in trouble, and the pressure is on, and it is one of those every game counts now. And yeah, I just feel it's all got to go right. It's all got to really piece together now. It's not just a case of we can scrape a 1-0 win, or, you know, we've been relying on penalties to get our goals. We're not relying on them, but that's how they've been coming. But now this has got to gel. This has got to piece together. It can't just be a fluke. It can't just be, because I don't think that's enough to then keep morale up. I don't think that's enough to convince the fans that it's all going well and that, you know, we're now looking like pushing on. I think it's all got to really come together tomorrow. We've really got to turn up, and the players have got to turn up, and that we've got to start positive. That lineup's got to be positive. The formation's got to be positive. We have to come out tomorrow and look like we are playing to win the game, which hasn't always happened. So yeah, it's huge. It's massive, and I am quite nervous for it. And I think, why on earth am I nervous about Everton at home? I never expected to be in this position, but it's the West Ham way, I suppose. But yeah, it's massive, Tommy.
Yeah, are you going, by the way?
Yeah, I'll be there.
You'll be there. So
I'll be freezing there.
Yeah. I just wonder about the kind of game it's going to be, because excuse me, obviously it's a massively important game for both teams and for both managers, and I don't know, I just feel like it's probably going to be like a very cagey kind of game. I don't expect Everton really to come out of the blocks quickly. I don't think they're going to kind of risk an open game early on. I think they'll try and get players behind the ball, keep it tight for a while, and kind of work their way into the game. And obviously that's something we've struggled with.
Well, it's like that was a similar stance to Saturday, right? With Wolves, it was very, very similar.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be very cagey. I'm not expecting an open, exciting game. Now, look, an early goal for either team could change that, change the shape of the game. But yeah, I think it's going to be like a very low scoring. I think it's going to be really cagey, really tight all the way through. I think it's going to be kind of a very nervy game. Even though the last kind of 10 minutes are going to be really edgy stuff, and because we really struggle to score goals. But we're very solid at the back. And like I say, Everton, I think, will keep numbers behind the ball, try and play on the counter. And we struggle against that. So goals probably will not be easy. Goals will not be easy to come by tomorrow for either side.
No. We're actually, and like you say, both will be really nervous about taking too many risks that will get them the court out.
Yeah,
because, like you said, I think maybe it's been the same sort of stage in the past few weeks that it got to the point where it was almost like, well, whoever scores now probably steals it, because that's the way it's going with the mentality and the setup, that there's that high pressure, there's that, and with a team like Everton, that's exactly how it'll be, I think.
Yeah, I think if either side does go behind at some point, I think that team will get really nervy and edgy, really nervy and edgy. Especially if it's us, because we're home and we've got the home crowd. I mean, if Everton go 1-0 up, it's going to get incredibly tense. Especially if we're not really creating anything and not playing particularly well. I mean, we go 1-0 down. I mean, it's going to get really, really, like, the crowd are going to get really nervy, and the atmosphere.
It's going to be horrible. Like, I dread the thought of it. Like, it will not be nice at all.
And the players obviously
very volatile.
Yeah, and the players will feel that.
Oh, 100%.
They'll feel the atmosphere, how heavy the atmosphere is in the place.
Yeah,
and they'll feel the rumblings in the crowd. And it could go all badly wrong. So I do worry. I think we cannot go 1-0 down tomorrow. I don't think.
No, definitely not. And they know that now. Yeah. They already know what we're all stepping into tomorrow. That they know they can't afford to concede first, because it's already feeling a little bit hostile. You're already starting to see those signs of the, not toxicity, because that doesn't do our fan base any justice at all, but like the hostility and the frustration and the passion coming out in the fan base. You're already getting that in these games. Like, I've seen it the past few weeks at the Brentford away, Wolves away. You're starting to feel that in the crowd. You're starting to see the friction and hear the friction, and that's gonna, like you say, that they're gonna know that that's already a thing. We all know that's already starting to rear its ugly head. So yeah, that pressure's already on them, that we absolutely cannot concede. Like, we can't go a goal down. We really can't. And we can't afford to start poorly, because I think even if it's just a flat performance, even if it's 0-0, I mean, it's shit. That negativity is gonna just emanate. Like, it's gonna be felt everywhere.
Yeah, and we've got mixed news as regards personnel. So obviously we've spoken about Sackico already. We don't believe he'll be available. Zuma will be fit to start. I'm sure he'll play alongside Aguerd tomorrow. So that's good news, that we'll have our first choice centre back pairing. The other news we're hearing is that we may not have Areola or Fabianski for this game. That we could be looking at Darren Randolph tomorrow. I haven't seen it confirmed, but that's the word on the street, as they say, is that we could be looking at Darren Randolph in goal tomorrow. And, he's going to be bloody rusty. He hasn't played in a long time. And, you worry about that too. If where's he at? I mean, we haven't seen him in so long. We don't really know if he's going to be up to the job. Especially, Cross is coming in. How's he going to be? How's he going to come out of the area?
And we can't really afford for there to be complacency, that we're going, okay, but because we've now got that preferred centre-back partnership, it's okay. We can probably afford to, we can't afford to have any of that mentality just even creeping in to the team tomorrow. Just even using that lifeline mentality of, but it's okay if we don't have either keeper, because now we've got Zuma and Aguerd next. We can't. I know it's a dream to have everybody who we want out there fit, so then everything feels positive, but it's hard to explain. But I think we would then risk a level of complacency that they've gone out, but someone's come in, albeit in a different position, so it doesn't really matter. Whereas I think that's not the attitude we want. Is we want everybody to be on their A game, and as you've just said, we don't know if he will be. So, yeah, that's worrying.
Yeah. Like I say, it's good to have Zuma back. We haven't really seen him and Aguerd in the side together. So, again, second half of the season, if we can keep both of those fit, that could be very important to us. The thing for me, though, is kind of unsurprisingly, really, but in the Wolves game, I mean, 9 of the starting 11 were here 3 years ago. And that's worrying to me, that Moyes is reverting back to the players that he kind of trusts and that have done it for him before, a couple of seasons ago. And my worry is that he'll do the same tomorrow. I want to see Benrahma playing tomorrow. I don't want to see Souček on the pitch. And the worry is that we'll see Fornals in that left midfield role where he doesn't play well and isn't suited to. I'd love to see Fornals play, but in midfield.
Midfield.
Ahead of Souček, for example, or Downs even, just not fucking Souček. If it's going to be kind of a midfield three, I'd love to see Royce Paqueta and Fornals, or Royce Paqueta and Downs, and Benny on the left, and Ings starting, and let's fucking have a go, But the worry for me is that Moyes will do what he did at Wolves, that it'll be Antonio up front, and Fornals will be on the left of the midfield, and Souček will be playing alongside Royce and Paqueta, and it'll be the same stale crap and the same players that were here 3 years ago. And it's a worry for me, because if I see that kind of, I probably like yourself and everyone else, I just rolled my eyes when I saw the starting 11 at Molineux, and I really just don't want to see that again tomorrow.
I mean, yeah, it's difficult to even say. It's hopefully he will change, because I think we maybe didn't expect the lineup that we saw at Wolves. So I'm at this point now where there's almost like a who knows what he'll do, because given the way things are going, change is completely necessary. But we all know change isn't necessarily something Moyes likes. Moyes likes trust in certain players, question mark as to why all the time, if they're off form, if statistically they're some of the worst players on the pitch, or they're playing out of position. And the proof's in the results at the end of the day. That is all there is to it. And some of that, there is a level of player performance that comes into that. But I mean, lineup wise, all we've said ever since we've been chatting and stuff, Tommy, is we just want to look like we're giving it a go. And I think if we come out and we actually give it a go tomorrow and then only come away with a point, we're still not going to be happy. But we're going to say, but that there might be other factors there that cause that, right? If you did everything right, that's all we want. And that's what I'm saying. It's not enough to just scrape something tomorrow. It's all got to come together, because that's when it looks like we are taking where we are in the table right now seriously.
Yeah.
And the players want to change it, and the manager wants to change it, and with that we want to change it. But it's really hard, to get excited about what's going on and give those players a boost. It really is. It's really difficult, especially for tomorrow. Home atmosphere is never huge, so the onus is going to be on them to boost themselves a lot tomorrow. So yeah, I completely agree. I don't want to see the likes of Souček tomorrow, but Moyes being Moyes, and his thing about trusting certain players and probably being happy with it being 0-0 going into half time.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's nervy, isn't it? It's nervy.
The worry I have is that it'll be the usual crap, and we'll shithouse a 1-0 win.
Papers over the cracks, Tommy.
Papers over the cracks, exactly. And is not sign of any kind of turnaround in our form or our ability to go and win games. And then it ends up giving Moyes another 3 or 4 games where we go and maybe lose to Newcastle, Tottenham and Chelsea, and then get a fucking, and then the Forest game is must win. Again, at that point, I think.
And then a couple of weeks later, you're back in playing European football on your Thursday, Sunday again. And
I'll be honest with you. Like, I would sack Moyes after the game tomorrow, regardless of the result. If we've got somebody, even if it's Benitez or Deitch, I don't care at this point. I think. I think if Moyes stays, we're getting relegated. I really do. I just do not see him turning it around at this point. That's Kenny. He's awake. Shit.
That's your nudge. You've got to go.
He's
Someone's
attacking
hungry.
you.
Ah.
Say hi, Kenny.
Oh,
Hi,
look.
Kenny. Hi, Kenny.
Oh, he's precious.
He is. He's a very handsome boy.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, he's a terror, but don't walk across my keyboard, Kenny, please.
But no, you're absolutely right, mate. Like it's
my worry, my worry is that we'll shithouse a win in bad form again, and he'll keep his job.
That's the thing. He'll keep his job if we win, and I think that's the big thing. And I think that that's papering over the cracks. That's how have we won? Have we won because it's been an unreal performance, and we looked like a dominating side. You know, we created chances, and you know maybe we had loads of chances on goal, but you know, keeper had a worldie and we hit the crossbar, or you know, then maybe we would go fair play. Like, but even then in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, because you knew that you had to. The pressure's on. You know, Lampard's going to be up for that. Like, it's it's got to be convincing tomorrow. That's the thing. It's got to look different and it's got to be convincing. And I think anything less than that, you're not going to convince an entire fan base that it's changing and like the next half of the season we're going to push on, because that's what we want, right, Tommy? We don't want it to be relegation battle, dog fights. Like he just wants camera time, Tommy. Like give him some attention. Like we want to be now pushing on for that second half of the season. Like, and it's doable, right? I'm not going to live in some dreamland. Like, we're not going to climb all the way up and have a really good Europa League run now, probably. But like you say, with players coming back from fitness and new signings and from injury and new signings, it's very doable. But we don't want to be scraping that. We don't want it to be jammy. We want to look like we're actually performing and playing some exciting football. And if it's not like, we shouldn't be saying this at this point. So, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you for your gut feeling about tomorrow. If you're feeling negative, positive, or unsure, and what you think the score will be. Also in the live chat, excuse me. Also in the live chat, put in what you think the score will be tomorrow, and I'll put that up on screen as well. So what's your gut feeling tomorrow, H? Positive, negative, unsure?
I feel a bit unsure because I think it is going to be a bit of a battle. It's two teams who both need a win, two managers who need a win. I feel like we've got a point to prove being at home. So I'm unsure. I feel like anything goes, but I see a draw. I see a 1-1 2-2. Not by anything exciting. I don't see it being thrilling. I see it, like you say, it will be fluky goals. It will be messy. It will be something along those lines, perhaps. So yeah, I don't feel massively confident in us, but also just given the nature of the fixture. So I'm going to go for a draw tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think that would surprise anybody. I'm kind of, like I said earlier, I think it will be cagey. I think it will be tight. I think it will be close. I have a feeling, and I hope I'm right, I have a feeling we won't concede, because I think we're joint fourth in the Premier League defensively. We don't concede a lot of goals. I think there's only 4 teams that have conceded less. Three teams that have conceded less, and 1 team that's conceded the same amount. I can't remember who the teams are. They're all up top of the table.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised at that.
Yeah, so we don't concede a lot. We're losing games and dropping points because we can't fucking score.
Yeah,
and that's my problem.
Yeah,
and I think we'll have the same issue tomorrow, because, like you, I do think Antonio will start.
Yeah.
And I think they will allow us to have the ball and sit back and get numbers behind the ball. And I think we will struggle again to create good goal-scoring opportunities.
We can see what's coming, Tommy. So, of course, Everton can.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Lampard, I'm sure, will have been looking at the games we've played. Our last home game there against Brentford, I'm sure he will have looked at that and said, right, this is how you get a result against West Ham.
Yeah. And even the past 2 or 3, right? You
Yeah.
keep them level until at least half time, and then whoever scores first is probably going to run away with that.
Yeah.
Like,
so I have a feeling this is not going to be a good game. I think, like you, it will be a draw. But I think it might be a 0-0. Yeah, I don't see much away goals in here. I think we could cancel each other out, and yeah, I think it could be a 0-0. Like, I hope I'm wrong. We desperately need the points, but like, as much as I want Moyes to be sacked, I've never once ever wanted West Ham to not win a game of football, regardless of the circumstances. And tomorrow's no different. I desperately want us to win this game and get the 3 points. And I hope we do. And I hope we do it convincingly and with a really good performance. You just can't be confident of that happening because, I mean, really, H, I mean, when was the last time in the Premier League where we not only won a game, but like, we played great? And you know, where you were buzzing after the game thinking, fucking hell, that was
we
so
looked good.
We looked really good. That was great.
Tommy, I can't tell you because, like, even people, they go back to like Palace away on New Year's Day last year, but we nearly threw that away. We weren't convincing. Like, we just had goals lead. Like, it was good, but we scored goals. But yeah, I genuinely don't know.
I think maybe the last one I can go back to remember where I thought we were excellent in a win was the home game with Liverpool when Oggy went down with his injury.
Yeah,
and
that, you know, I've missed one game this season. Last season, I only missed maybe 2 or 3. So to not be able to know the last time I was walking to the station and thought we're a force to be reckoned with there. Like, there's, you know, we were 100% the better team. We're like, nothing about that was lucky. Nothing about that just went in our favour. We deserved the win. We looked comfortable. We looked confident. That's not good, right?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has been a long time, a worryingly long time. So I think that's what we're crying out for, and I think that will be the only time we'll now go, okay, fair enough. Like, you've shown us that things are changing here. You're actually putting the work in, and we look good. We look like we deserve it. It's been a long time without being convinced, Tommy.
Yeah, because I think ultimately, H, when you look at it, I mean, if we can't perform tomorrow and beat this Everton side, we're not beating anybody. If we can't beat them, we cannot beat anyone.
No.
You know, we're not going up to St. James's Park and getting a result.
It'd be typical that we would, but not convincingly. That's the point.
Not under my. But I don't know. Where I'll disagree with you slightly is I think if we draw tomorrow, I think he's gone. I think a draw or a loss. I think I
think I just have that doubt that. I mean, I think they feel like they will have to, right? There's no. Because I just think you don't really come back from that. But I don't think it will be an easy decision. I don't think they'll want to do it. I think they'll feel like they, you know, it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just have that nervousness about it's got to be a loss and it's got to be, I don't know. I just have that. Yeah, I hope that is the case. That if we do lose, he's gone.
No, I understand.
And I've never been like that. I've never been like that. I don't like to be like that. I don't like to, call for.
Well, I understand where you're coming from because I mean that Sullivan is clearly reticent to sack him, very reticent. But I just think tomorrow would be the breaking point.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be, Tommy. It's got to be the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, it has to be. If we cannot win this. I mean, like, we're not winning any game, so he's got to go at that point, in my opinion. Let's see what the chat has to say. Howard is very okay. Howard, 5-0 for Howard. Jerry thinks 3-1 West Ham. He thinks there's goals in us tomorrow. That would be nice. Mandy agrees. She's going with the 5-0. I think that is supposed to be a 1-1. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. We shall see. It should be still in there, but can Moyes get it out? Hasn't for a long time. Brunei reckons 1-1 and Bennett score. Lawrence agrees with me. He thinks it'll be 0-0 as well. Who we go? This is Gatesy. I'll assume that's a 2-0. Not pretty, but they are worse than us overall. We hope. 1-1 draw. Neil thinks. First from mine, he was. Oh, sorry. So that Debenham Dave, he thinks 2-1. This is quite positive. There's no one's got. Oh, the first one. Garino's the first one. 0-1. Doesn't trust Moyes to go for it. Not until around the 75th minute, maybe. Yeah. Eric John thinks 1-1. TCC.
Wow.
Yeah, 4-2 West Ham. 6-goal thriller between ourselves and Everton.
That'd be a good watch.
Yeah, I just don't see goals being in this one. I think both
maybe there will be a bit of magic there, Tommy. Maybe, Ings' debut will come on and bag a hat-trick in 15 minutes. Who knows?
Yeah, crazy things could happen.
It could be something like that. That could be, and then we'll all get really excited, and Ings will be the one, and then he'll get injured.
Yeah. Paul Evans, 1-1 or 4-0, depending on the lineup.
Some margin there.
Yeah. So Toby says 3-0, absolute toffee demolition, silky attacking football and dominating possession. Yeah, I believe that when I see it. Stuart Ling is confident as well, 2-1 to the Mighty Hammers. I can understand, there being a bit of confidence, but because Everton are so bad. I mean, in fairness, like Everton at home 1-0 up against Southampton, who are bottom of the table, to get turned over, 2-1. That is really, really bad. Forrest thinks 2-1. Okay, not pretty. Definitely won't be pretty, in my opinion. Both teams will have phases of control. Everton are worse than us overall, but not by much. Mandy's going for the Ings hat-trick on his debut. Might be the perfect hat-trick as well. Left foot, right foot header. Here we go.
Yes.
Gary J. 3-0.
There's another one.
There's another one, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And Tuchel.
This is great.
Yeah, there's some positivity in there, which is good. All right, I think that's the end of pretty much the end of, yeah. Okay. See, here we go. So this is Anton. So in my opinion, we deserved something from Chelsea, Liverpool, Forest. Yeah, look, there's been some games where we've been a bit unlucky, but you'll get that every season. But there's been other games where we've had a bit of luck as well, where we've got something, so it cuts both ways. It doesn't really mean anything. I mean, considering how long we've been on this terrible run, you can't start talking about bad luck here and there. I mean, every time you get some bad luck here
you look back on those in 4 or 5 more games time, and you just go, well, they were points dropped, and arguably not our fault. Like there were things there, decisions made, that didn't go in our favour. But that's swings and roundabouts, right? That's how it goes. So it comes back to us being convincing on the pitch and doing the job at the end of the day.
It comes down to his performances at the end of the day, and we haven't been putting any in. So Alan Donald says winning 2-1, and Moyes given a new contract. She's that, and I really hope so. So look, I guess the big thing tomorrow will be when we see the lineups. Hopefully, we'll all be pleasantly surprised. You'd love to see Benny starting, Ings starting. Souček dropped maybe, and Downs or Fornell's coming in there in the middle, and that would be nice. But you never quite know with Moyes if he'll revert to type again like he did at Wolves, or if he understands that this Kenny again, or if he understands.
There's a lot going on back there.
I know he loves climbing up the curtains, little shit.
Excellent.
Yeah, he's still young, so he's not very heavy. So I hope that shit stops before he's like fully grown, because he'll be too heavy for that and he pull the whole thing down. The whole
Yeah, good
rail
luck.
will come down. Yeah, but look, we'll see tomorrow. Hopefully a performance and a win. But you just don't know. This is one of those games really where anything could happen. But like I say, only one way to find out, and it'll be an interesting one. It'll be a nervy one, I think, but definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Listen, we're going to leave it there because I have to go. Listen, thanks again, H. I always appreciate you giving me your time and coming on. Always love hearing your opinions.
Yeah, thanks for having me, mate. I like coming on and sharing the fat with you. It's good.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to have a chinwag about West Ham, especially there's a lot going on right now. And so hopefully you'll be happy tomorrow at 5 o'clock, like the rest
Hopefully
of us.
we all will, mate.
Yeah. But also, as always, thanks to everybody in the chat. Really appreciate you being along. And hopefully you'll join me. I'll definitely be here next week. I'm not sure about H. We'll see what happens. We'll play it here, but hopefully you'll be able to join me again soon, H. And until then,